resolve is made up. I started preparing the things that I will bring. Starting from tents, paracord rope, matches, knives, also don't forget the camera to document this. I glanced at my watch and it was already 3:30 in the afternoon. I called Luke again so he wouldn't be late coming to my house. But no answer. Soon I heard a knock on my door. Hoping it was Luke, I stepped out of my room and opened the door. And it was Luke. "Ready to go," he said. I just nodded, then we both got into my off-road Jeep. During the trip Luke and I talked about what we did. Yes. We will seek the truth about a folklore of the city. I lowered the speed of this car when I began to realize that on our left and right were trees that stood firm and tight. This car shook several times due to damaged and rocky roads. Soon we stopped right in front of a rusty iron cross and overgrown with weeds. "Are we there yet?" Luke said as he turned to me. "A little more, Luke, a little more," I said as I got out of the car and took my carrier bag. I jumped over the bar and walked straight ahead, Luke trailing behind me. While walking I turned on the camera, recording the surroundings. We kept walking in until the sun started to set. Right in the woods Luke and I started setting up tents and lighting a bonfire. We were both still talking about the same thing. "So, how does it look?" Luke asked me. "Like a human, but with 4 legs and the head of a deer," I replied while warming the food over the fire. "Wow. Sounds great. Cool enough that he caught you and ate you alive, Luke," I said with a laugh. In the middle of the night, Luke and I tried to be aware of our surroundings. It could have appeared in front of us now, but nothing happened tonight, until we both fell asleep. In the middle of the night I woke up because I heard something from outside the tent, like the sound of heavy breathing. Or rather the sniffing sound of an animal, maybe. I tried to wake Luke but he was still sleeping. Filled with curiosity and fear I finally fell asleep again. The next morning I found animal footprints around our tent, Luke and I thought it was the creature we were looking for. We agreed to leave the tent to find out the truth of the creature. Luke and I continued to follow the footprints. We walked far enough until the trail led us to an old house. Yep. A fairly large old house, in the middle of the forest. "Should we go in, Luke?" I said. "I don't know, I doubt it," Luke said. "My curiosity is greater than fear. I never know whether the creature is real or not, and right now I have to know it." My feet started walking towards the old house. The sound of the wooden floor squeaking as I stepped on it broke the silence between me and Luke. I stepped into the house. It's dark in here, even though the sun is directly above our heads. Only Luke's flashlight penetrates the darkness of this house, while I only hold this camera. This house is bigger than it looks. The deeper Luke and I smelled a strange smell. It smells like carrion. Again and again, curiosity always wins over fear. I got closer to the source of the smell until I saw a room penetrated by sunlight. "Tech tech tech," a voice sounded from the room. I motioned for Luke to walk silently following me. With a bit of confidence I stepped towards the source of the sound. Oh God! I see it. Like a person but half his body like a deer, with a skull head that has the right horns like a deer. Right when I saw him he also turned around and looked deeply into my eyes. My body was shaking, my heart was pumping fast, my breathing became unstable until finally my vision became dark and I fainted. I still managed to hear Luke's voice calling my name. But that voice suddenly became a scream. I woke up in a field in the middle of a forest. Oh shit! I cursed so, knowing my hands and feet were tied to 4 different sides. I tried to untie the knot, but suddenly from a distance I heard animal footsteps. Tech tech tech. Good grief. It was the creature I had just seen. He drew closer to me, dragging the lifeless Luke by his arms. I can see it clearly. Luke's face was full of blood and even his jaw dropped. Oh God! He threw Luke's body right in front of me. My heart was pounding really fast. I screamed as hard as I could. hoping someone could help me. He stepped forward towards me. Closer. Closer. Until finally he was right in front of me. Looking deeply into my eyes, exposing all my fears. Slowly he began to remove the skull from his face so I could see the contents of the creature's head. My blood seems to stop flowing, his heart is pumping very weakly. I can feel his left hand holding my head. My breath is unstable. He quickly plunged the inside of the skull into my face. I can feel his inside stabbing right at the collar of my brain. In a few moments I can still feel fresh blood running down my head. Until all is dark. And my heart stops beating.